the point is that obviously as a developer developing some sort of application or whatever, something that you're running on a computer, developers, I don't think typically, and I mean, maybe I'm wrong here, but I think this clearly proves it, is that developers haven't really been thinking about the whole timing of displaying, you know, messages, whether they're error messages, security messages, you know, so timing seems to be a big factor in, you know, in getting folks to actually recognize and act upon something that you're trying to tell them that may be, you know, some sort of warning.
I'd be interested to hear from more developers myself. I know that when I write code, typically I'm not really concerned about when things occur. It's usually A occurs, then B occurs, and then C or D occurs based on the branch.
Right,
but
yeah.
It's not a question of when or how long do I wait or when's the most opportune time for the human brain.
Right.
It's always get it done next.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, there's a whole art to the human factors element of developing something that's going to be in front of a user. So, you know, I think, you know, not all developers are keenly aware, but, you know, something like a browser definitely has that kind of, you know, input into their timing of things. So,
yeah.
I'd also wonder if there's any investigation into the delivery mechanism of these warnings. I mean, is pop-up the best way to give somebody? You know, I mean, I think as browser users, sometimes we're trained to ignore or trained to have the same reactions to pop-ups. If this is the same pop-up that you see 100 times because your certificate is old, sometimes you're just trained to just hit the little X in the corner and keep on about your business. So,
Yeah.
you know, if there's some way to, you know, I think we've seen, you know, there's the red address bar. I think that's a little more you know, vivid for the user, but you know, if we could look at other sort of human factors way of alerting people to security issues, that's probably something to look into.
So you're reminding me of, in Windows, typically, I think after XP, maybe Vista, whenever they started having a confirmation, are you sure you want to allow this app to run, or do you want this app to make these changes? You know, the background grays out, or gets dark, and then you get just that. It focuses your attention on that. That might be a better way of doing it in general.
Well, so I was thinking the exact same thing as you were thinking about, you know, about graying out and basically making the pop-up the only thing that you see on your screen.
Yeah, that's how
but I believe, I'd have to go back and look, and I'm not sure if this went into enough detail to tell this, but I believe that some of the pop-ups that they probably presented were in that fashion. So like if you had a UAC pop-up that says basically like, hey, you know, this needs whatever permissions, you know, it grays everything else out. But I guarantee that some of this comes from folks that actually get that stuff grayed out, and they still click the X in the corner because they're worried about what was happening in the background. You just interrupted what was happening in the background. They want to get back to it, so what they're going to do is just click the X and go past it. And I'm wondering if some of these statistics actually...
Well, with that, I mean, that's the same way that ads are now being placed
exactly what I was going to say,
on your browser. So, you know, you're sort of trained in this action to, you know, I see an ad, I close it. So if your security warning is delivered the same way your ad is, your brain's going to say, hit the X and close it.
Right.
So,
and there's not much you can do as soon as you start changing your model to be, this is what the visual language is for something that's important and requires action. Guarantee you, advertisers are going to say, people are being trained on this, we're going to make our ads look exactly like that.
Yeah. So. Or, you know what, advertisers will probably be ahead of the curve because there's money at stake for them, and the security, the mechanism for delivery on the security end probably doesn't have as much vested as, you know, the billion-dollar advertising firms that are, you know, have an interest in getting web ads out to everybody. So
it's a good point.